Everybody, welcome back. I'm Darian the Eclectic, and today we're continuing our series on the different plotting methods. Specifically, today we're talking about the hero's journey, part 1. So let's get into it. All right, in the last couple of videos for this series, I covered the save the cat method. So if you're interested in seeing that as well, I highly recommend going and checking it out. I think it's really important to compare all of the different plotting methods and even kind of try to outline the same story you're working on in different plotting methods to see what works best for you and how you can combine them. I personally Frankenstein a lot of different plotting methods together in order to, get the stories that I want, and that often changes with each and every story. So if that interests you, please go check it out. Today, we're going to be digging into the first half of the hero's journey, and we're going to use The Lord of the Rings as the quintessential example for this. Now, something I want to point out first and foremost is we kind of used the Twilight series or the Twilight book 1 as an example in the save the cat method. And the reason for that is because book 1 in and of itself fully encapsulates that save the cat beat sheet. It has every single beat within book 1 in and of itself. There's also a wider arc for the entire series, but it's interesting to see that it encompasses book 1 in and of itself, whereas with Lord of the Rings, when we see the hero's journey, it actually is not encompassing in just book 1. We see the hero's journey and the entire series in and of itself. It cannot be encompassed in just one book. And so I want to point that out because your story may fall into the realm of being a fully encapsulated, complete beginning to end plot in one book, in each and every book of the series, and its own plot in the series arc altogether, which is really common these days. That is the common way to write stories these days. However, The Lord of the Rings, a classic, a beloved story, does not have an encompassing outline or plotting method within one book. It can only be mapped out from the entire series using the hero's journey. So you have options. Again, you do not need to stick to something hard and fast. Write your book, write the story of your heart, go back and see how you can make things work together. I like to use the plotting methods as a general guide, but I often deviate because that's where the story is taking me. And in the editing process, I may go back and add in certain things or strengthen certain parts that are in those plotting methods, but I don't hold hard and fast to them. I allow for fluidity and flexibility to tell my story the way I want to tell it, while still including the things that the readers are interested in. And if you want to know more about obligatory scenes and genre conventions that readers want to see in certain genres, make sure you go and check that out. I did some of the story grid obligatory scenes and genre conventions in other videos as well, and I can continue doing those because there are quite a few if that interests you. For now, let's use Lord of the Rings as the example. Number 1 in the hero's journey is the ordinary world. This is where we see the character in their ordinary world. For example, we see Frodo in the Shire living his life, happy and joyful. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. Nothing needs to change. He is happy here. Number 2 is the call to adventure. And this is where Frodo receives the ring from his uncle and Gandalf tells him it has to be destroyed. This is where he's told he's got to be the one to make this journey and complete this task. And this is a complete interruption of his idyllic, wonderful, happy, serene, ordinary world. It upsets the balance. And number 3, the immediate response to this is a refusal to the call. So immediately Frodo doesn't want to do this. He's happy in the Shire. He doesn't want to go on a journey. This journey is filled with dangers that he's afraid to encounter, and he doesn't want to do this. So we see the idyllic scenario of the ordinary world. We see the call to adventure, the task that this particular character must complete. And we see the character refusing the call, not wanting to do this out of fear. Something else I like to point out about refusal of the call is there's often a theme that is stated within this particular part of the story. And we see Frodo not wanting to do this because he's afraid, he feels unprepared, he feels like he cannot hold this kind of responsibility. He wants to continue on with his carefree life without having to step up and be a more evolved, a more responsible person in of himself, or hobbit as it were. And with this refusal of the call, we see number 4 happening to kind of help convince him along the way, which is meeting the mentor. So we see Gandalf show up and kind of guide Frodo on his way. And just like we mentioned in the Save the Cat method, when theme was stated, and it's stated in multiple different parts of the story, this is also stated in multiple different parts of the story. The mentor is not just one scene convincing the character to go on with his business and then leaves. The mentor comes back again and again and again to provide wisdom and guidance as the character needs it throughout the story. Number 5 in the hero's journey is the crossing the threshold. This is where the character goes from his ordinary world to the extraordinary world. This is where the character has accepted that they need to go on this task, and they take that next step toward the journey in order to complete it. In this example, we see Frodo and his friends leaving the Shire and heading into a very different, more dangerous world, which leads us directly into the next part. Number 6 is the tests, allies and enemies. So similar to Save the Cat in the fun and games beat, this is the fun and games beat for the hero's journey. This is where we see the character go up against challenge after challenge, meet enemies, meet allies. This is the meat and potatoes and the back jacket blurb of the book. This is the adventure that the reader has been promised when they picked up the book and decided they want to read it. It satisfies those genre conventions and those obligatory scenes, and it gives the adventure to the story. It also helps the character grow. So in every single challenge and every single adventure, we see that character failing and growing and learning and becoming the more responsible person, in Frodo's case, responsible hobbit, as they move closer and closer to the task they must complete. They're learning different things, acquiring different skills, and moving the story along the plot and the character arc. Now, number 7 is approach to the innermost cave. However, I want to cut this video here because I don't want it to get too long. If you want to see part 2, please let me know. I will be recording it. If you have any questions from the hero's journey for part 1, please drop them down in the comments below as well. And let's keep the discussion going, talking about these different plotting methods, the ways they can be implemented. Everyone's opinions of them is part of the learning process, and it's an interesting and fun process. So contribute down below, let me know what you think, and make sure you tune in to the next one where we cover Hero's Journey Part 2. If you enjoy these videos, please let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you're informed every time I release another video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.